Good day, everyone. Today I'll be showing you how I attempt to discover the subnetting skill challenge, where the challenge required me to have to subnet four different networks, right? Where in the first network we need to have two subnets of 30 hosts, four of 60 for the second, four 1000 hosts for the third, and for the final one 5000 for each subnet. Right. Now we begin. I'll show what I've done to subnet these networks. I've already done each for each network because doing it live through the video will take way too long. So I'll just go through how I submitted each network to get the right amount of hosts for each. Starting with the first one, this network, judging by its network address, is a class C with a subnet. Oh, excuse me, sorry. With the subnet mask. Alright, so now we need to subnet this network /24 into two networks with 30 hosts each. Now we know that with /24 it gives us 256 hosts based on the exercises we've done previously. So in order to get the 30 hosts we must borrow bits as we've practiced before. Now the amount of bits you borrow it will be based on how much hosts you will get. So in borrowing one bit, where we see the bit is carried over here to the right, we will get /25, which is 128 hosts. We borrow two bits, we will get 26, which is 64 hosts, but not quite close to the number that we want, which is 30 hosts. Now the ideal number of bits you want to take will be 3 bits, which is /24, which is at 27, which will give it 32 hosts. Right. Now it's not exactly 30, but it's close enough to the number of hosts that we need to get for the two networks. Now the new network address is 192.168.4.0/27, with a new network mask is .224, and the number of the host is 30, like we needed to get. And obviously, with the magic number being 32, the number of hosts that we got from the 3 bits is incremented by 32. And this here is a new subnet, which is 192.168.4.0/27, 192.168.4.32/27, and these are your ranges. Moving on to the second one. Now, with the second network, excuse me. Alright, with the second network, we can see that it's also a class C, judging by network address here. This is subnet mask, and we need to subnet this into 4 networks with 60 hosts each. Now with borrowing in one bit, we get /25, which is 122 hosts like we saw above in the previous network. And with borrowing 2 bits, we are closer to the number that we need, which is 60. Because we got 26, we get 64 hosts. And with the new address, we get 192.168.2.0/26. The new subnet of 0.192, with the number of visible hosts as 62, with the margin number being 64 because the number of hosts we got from the 2 bits, which will not be incremented by 64. And with currently 4 different subnets we have, which is 192.168.2.0, .2.64, .2.128, .2.129, and with the different ranges for each one. And on to the third network, we know that this one is class B from what we learned in previous exercises in the class. Earlier in the class, we know that this one is class B. Hopefully you guys remember that. New network mask. We need to subnet this into 4 network with 1,000 hosts, which I know that sounds like a large number, but it's really not when you know to subnet properly, right? So with the slash 24, excuse me. Okay, so we know that we know our placement values. We know that we'll get slash 24, which is 525. Oh, no, excuse me, 512 hosts. Sorry, right. Now we need to turn off some bits in order to reach 1,000 watts, which is different from earlier when we had to borrow bits. Now we have to turn off one bit, which means we're adding a zero here instead of putting a one on this side here. And if you need placement values, this is nothing new. So we turn off a bit, which will give us 23 slash 23, which is 512 hosts. Okay, sorry, I made a mistake here. So this should be 2, 6 hosts, I believe it is. Okay, sorry about that. This should be slash 24 should be 256 hosts. Slash 23 is 512 hosts. Sorry about that. So we know that turning off one bit will give us slash 23. 512 hosts, turning off two bits, which will give us slash 22, which is 1024 hosts, which is close to the number of hosts that we need for the subnetting. And with that, we get our new network address, which is 172.20.0.0/22. We get a new subnet mask. This is the number of visible hosts we get because we have to take away 2 for the network. And the address magic number will be 4, of course. And this will be the number of subnets we get for it. And this will be its ranges. Now we're on to the last network. Something I want to mention, also a trick that I came up with. Now to remember which side you need to go in order to get the amount of hosts you need. So for me, I learned that when you're going to the left, right, on this side, when you're going left, you're subtracting or turning off bits to gain more hosts, right? So because you need 5,000 hosts, you have to turn off bits in order to get that amount. But with the earlier networks, you went to the right to get a lower amount of hosts based on how much hosts that you need in that scenario. So I'll add here to left. Left is more and right is less. It's a small but easy way to, in case you forget to remember which side you need to go in order to get the amount of hosts you desire. So left is more, depending on how much hosts you have. Right is less, depending on how much hosts you have. And for this one, we are obviously going left because we need 5,000 hosts. So we take away 5 bits, which is a lot. I know these numbers are large, but if you know your subnetting from the previous class, this should be easy when you know your placement values, how to turn off bits. So we'll be needing 5 bits in order to get enough for the 5,000 hosts that we need. This is a closer number to the 5,000, but it's obviously not quite enough for the 5,000 hosts that we need to get. So we have to go to the largest number that we can get here in this scenario, which is slash 19, which is 8,192 hosts. And the new host will be 172.24.0.0/19 with the new subnet mask here. Usable host, of course, is 8190 because we need the 2 extras for the network. And the magic number is 32. and that is what we be incremented by. Excuse me. And our subnets are 172.24.0.0 slash 19.32.0 slash 19.64.0 slash 19.96 slash dot 0 slash 19, and these are the ranges for each. Okay, so I hope this was helpful in explaining how to subnet. These four networks, I know the numbers may look large, but don't let it intimidate you because it's rather simple once you know the basics that we've learned before we are on in the class. So, thank you for viewing my take on this subnetting skills challenge. Goodbye.